Happy Wednesday, everyone. We got a fun little work set coming your way. We got a 15-minute AMRAP coming up at you, so we're gonna have some fun with that. We're gonna get you prepped and ready after our strength day yesterday. So let's get ourselves going into warm-up. We have a Plankton down dog for 3 to 5, forearm plank rock of 20 seconds, into prone shoulder raise of 6 to 10 alternating reps, forearm plank with toe tap of 20 seconds and just continuous movement, and then plank to bear squat of 3 to 5. You're then going to do that for 2 rounds, just giving yourself a chance to heat your core up and your shoulders up a little bit to give them some life. And then we're going to move down into this bottom phase where we're going to kind of touch on a little bit more, kind of bringing things back up. We have our humeral glide to knee push-up for 3, again just to work on positioning for that push-up for later on in the workout. We have our floor facing angel of 3 at 5-second holds, so we're going to again work on opening up that tissue for what's to come. We're going to strengthen up that tissue with our quad plank of 3 at 10 seconds. Kang Squat of 5 to 10, so we're going to help stretch out and open up those squats for later on. And then we have our calf raise, ankle pop, skip. So I have it set up at 20 seconds, and you can kind of tweak this as much as you want. So originally I was thinking 20 seconds of each. So as you kind of play around, you could always do 20 seconds, 20 seconds, 20 seconds. Then you can start replacing pieces if you'd like, and go a little longer for certain pieces, go a little shorter. It's up to you, but what we want to do is prep the feet and the calves, get some more explosiveness, and then bring that coordination factor in there. So you can play around with a bunch of different variations of that. You could even do the same concept with the calf raise, the ankle pop, in-out hops, dumbbell lateral jump over, step over, something along the lines that's a little bit more coordinated, takes a little bit more thought and presence to get ourselves ready to go. So from there, we have a 2 to 3 round kind of option there to get yourself prepped. The work set today is not overly complicated, but then we can work on a practice round just to make sure we're good to go. It'll get the heart rate up, get you ready, and then we'll tackle this bad boy. We have an AMRAP of 15 minutes, 10 burpees, 15 arch ups. So we're working on the opposite direction of our movement that we did on Monday with the V-up. Then we're gonna move into 20 squats and 30 double unders. We're gonna take that through for 15 minutes. So if you don't have the ability to skip at home or don't have a rope or whatnot, we will have some other options on the workout description for the double under, so check those out. Pick the one that suits you the best. It's going to challenge you for today, and we'll tackle this bad boy today for 15 minutes of steady state movement. So pause the video, take that down. We are going to start getting anything ready together that we need. I'm going to start coming at you with a good old warm-up. All right, let's get those feet under the hips. We're going to take the arms big and tall. Let's stretch it to one side, take it over to the other side. Back up, we're going to shrug, we're going to come back down, set those shoulders, scratch your back and reach through the elbow, come back up, big stretch, scratch your back, reach through the elbow, come back up, big reach, take it all the way down to the floor, touching those toes, walk up those shins, we'll come down, frame a foot, we'll step back into that lunge, hip is square to the front, inside hand on the front leg. We're going to turn the torso as we come back to center, turn the torso, back to center, and turn the torso, and back to center. From here, we're going to plant the hand, we'll step back into our down dog, setting the shoulders nice and strong, just walk the heels. Again, we got a little bit of jumping, we're going to get a little impact on those feet today, so we want to warm them up, just kind of wake them up to that kind of motion. Make sure things are feeling pretty good here. We'll come back into that plank. We're going to step the other foot up. Inside hand, locking that foot down. Let's turn the torso. Come back to center. Turn. Come back to center. And turn. And come back to center. Plant the hand. We're going to step back into that down dog. Reaching those steps. Walking the heels. Again, just giving them a chance to warm up. Waking up the calves a bit. Just making sure things feel pretty good. Good. Balance it out. Come back into that plank. Pushing through those shoulders. We'll tiptoe those feet up. We're going to roll ourselves up. Big stretch. Big reach. And reach. We'll come down with those arms. And get you guys fired up and ready to go. So pause the video. Take down any extra movement you need, thread the needle, cat-cow. We did a lot of lower bodies yesterday, so if you need to, take a moment just to kind of work on that lower half a little bit more if you'd like. Then come back, we're gonna talk about our first phase of warm-up. Our first phase of warm-up is gonna kickstart off with some plank to down dog. So it's gonna give us a chance to really work on those shoulder positions. So I'm gonna get myself into my plank. My hands are just outside of my shoulders, but my shoulders are over top of my hands in that terms of orientation. I'm gonna push my shoulders up to the sky a little bit. I'm gonna pull my ribs in to establish that good plank. I'm gonna pull my hips back, but I'm gonna focus on keeping my shoulders set in that position. I'm gonna soften my knees a bit, soften my heels. I'm gonna come back and pushing through those shoulders, pulling those ribs, setting that position, and then again, pulling those hips back, making sure those armpits are pointing towards the toes and or the quads, and just exploring that nice flow from plank to that extension position in the back. So again, with this position, we want to make sure our shoulders aren't up in our ears, that our shoulders are wrapping around our body and we have space between the shoulder and the neck. So really taking the time to focus on opening up that upper back, giving yourself that space and taking that time to feel that out. Now, our next exercise, we're going to come down to our forearm plank. We did this the other day. We're going to work on that forearm plank rock. So what we want to think about before I get down there is that activation of pulling back through the upper body as we draw the arms back. We're going to engage through that nice side body and work on opening up the lats. It's going to feel different than when we do our plank rock with our arms, just because we're in a slightly more compressed position with our forearms. So I'm going to get my forearms flat on the floor, elbows underneath of my shoulders. Pushing down through my forearms to get those shoulders active. I'm going to get my body set up in my good forearm plank. And I'm going to pull my body forward. Keeping my hips level, I'm going to push back to my forearm plank. Pull forward, push back. So we're trying to keep our hips nice and stacked and level so that we're not shooting them upwards into our dolphin. So that's can be a big challenge. So I want you to imagine that we put a PVC pipe on your shoulders and hips, and as you pull forward, that PVC pipe doesn't move at all. It just stays nice and flat, nice and level. After we're done our forearm plank rock, we're going to come onto our stomach, and we're going to work on our prone shoulder raise. So our prone shoulder raise is that beautiful handstand kind of drill that allows us to really work on our position and our shoulder mobility. Toes are together, we press the tops of the feet into the floor. I'm going to squeeze my glutes a bit, but pull my ribs and hips in so I get that good hollow position. I'm going to pull my armpits down towards the ground. I'm going to press my hands into the floor to get that engagement so I feel that tension from pinky to toe. From here, I'm going to keep that shoulder position as I lift my arm up off the ground, holding that position strong. Then I'll lower, press into the floor. Lift the other arm, holding, nice and strong, and then I'll press into the floor. Then I'll switch. So I want to make sure that I'm setting that shoulder position before I lift the other arm up off the ground. So what that's going to do is it's going to stabilize that upper back and make sure that my positions stay the same. Now from there, we have our forearm plank with toe tap. With this toe tap, this can be as big or as small as you would like, but we want to make sure we're trying to keep our forearm plank nice and stable. So I'm going to go to the side first, and then I'll do it one or two facing the camera. So the same rules apply for our forearm plank. Elbows under the shoulders, I push through the forearms. I get set up in my forearm plank. Then I'm going to take my toe out to the side. Toe to the side. Continuing to press through those shoulders. Continuing to pull the ribs in and work through that good forearm plank from hip up as I take my feet out to the angle or that I'm comfortable or that my hip will allow. So it's kind of like a side scale, but in a plank form. So I get myself established, I touch, and touch. And we're just taking our time, going back and forth, pausing when we come back to the plank to make sure we're stable and balanced, taking it to where we feel that challenge but comfortable, and we just go back and forth, maintaining that plank position for 20 seconds. So really focusing on our engagement there, working on that good core position, and then exploring the glutes as we take that leg up to the side. After that, we're gonna come back up onto our plank and go into our bear squat. If you're not super comfortable with the bear squat, you can also go back into your down dog for one more set and lead into the next round of the warm-up. But with the bear squat, what we have is we set up our positioning just like we did for our plank to down dog, except our feet are going to be about hip width to squat stance. I push through the shoulders, I pull the ribs in. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pull my hips back towards my heels, my ankles, and I'm going to push straight back out. So I'm actively pressing through the floor with those arms. Armpits are still pushing, or sorry, wrapping around the body, just like I was in my down dog, except it's going to be putting a little bit more pressure in the arm and the shoulder to balance. So really focus on the range, right? Trying to keep the hips going down towards the ankles, opposed to going up towards the sky, like in our down dog. So we want to stay as low as we can. But your ankle, hip, knee mobility is going to be a deciding factor there, as well as your shoulders. So please only go as far as you can. Don't worry about going super deep. Just take it to your edge. Start building that range slowly and steadily. Now, as a quick recap, we have a plank to down dog for 3 to 5, forearm plank rock for 20 seconds, prone shoulder raise for 6 to 10 alternating, forearm plank with toe tap, 20 seconds, and then we have a plank to bear squat for 3 to 5 reps, or go right back into your plank to down dog and reset if you're not super comfortable with the plank to bear squat. 2 rounds of that, take that down, it's going to get the shoulders heated up, you're going to get that core fired up. We're going to come back at you with that next phase of warm-up, which is going to really focus again in on those shoulders and some key points that we need in our workout. All right, our next phase of warm-up is going to kickstart off back on the floor again with our humeral glide to knee push-up and our floor-facing angel. So I'm going to go onto my stomach because we're going to use this very similar kind of setup for both movements. So what we have for you guys on this one, we get down to the floor at the bottom position of our push-up. My toes are together, but they're just sort of tops of the toe are pressing into the ground. I am going to set my elbow so it's stacked over top of my hand, and I'm going to pull my shoulders forward into this kind of rolled-in position. This is not where I want to be in my push-up. And then I'm going to roll them back so that they feel back and set in that good position and I have a neck. My elbow's still stacked over my wrist. I'm going to pull my ribs and hips together or bring my sternum and belly button close together. Squeeze my glutes. Push to my knee plank as I continue to maintain that good hollow body position and that hand under shoulder. And then I'm going to come forward and down, leading with my chest so that my chest touches first and then I can relax and reset that body position. So I pull the shoulders forward where I don't want them in the push-up, pull them back to where I do. Elbows are still stacked over top of the wrist, ribs and hips pull in, push to the knee, nice and set, lower forward and down. All right? So from here, once we're done our humeral glide to knee push-up, if you'd like to use the humeral glide floor-facing angel, you can. So the humeral glide being the shoulders coming forward, the shoulders coming back, the elbows staying stacked over the wrist, we pull the ribs and hips in, and now we're going to squeeze the shoulders together, pulling the elbows back, and perhaps pulling those hands off the floor. If not, that's okay. We want to think about maintaining this position through the core, the elbow stacked position, and that engagement through the shoulders. So if the hands don't come all the way off the ground, that's okay. Focus your attention on the pressure of the squeeze back, the retraction of the elbows, and the hands lifting wherever they can. We don't want to contort the body to get the hands lifted higher. We want to make sure that we're maintaining that good stacked position from head to toe. Sometimes when I'm doing classes, I'll alternate between these two, so I'll do a set of humeral glide to knee push-up, humeral glide to floor-facing angel, and just go back and forth because it can be a nice kind of movement set to pair it up with, opening up the chest, getting yourself ready, working on the push, opening up the chest. So you can kind of experiment with that if you like, or just take them down individually as you go. After those two movements, though, we're going to come back into our tabletop. Hands are just outside the shoulders. but the orientation again is shoulder over hand. Knees are under the hips and my toes curl under. I push into the floor a little bit to get that little bit of protraction. I pull my ribs in a little bit to get that nice set position. And then I'm going to lift my knees about an inch off the floor, pulling my hands and feet together to create that tension. So I'm maintaining that good stacked position of my body, and I'm creating a lot of inward tension and pressure towards my midline. And I'm going to hold that for 10 seconds. Then I'll come down. If you want to give yourself a cat-cow curl in between the reps, you can. But then I'll reset the position, lift my knees an inch off the floor, holding that quad plank and really building that nice, strong, tight core. So again, I like to use either a thread the needle, cat-cow, scap push-up in between those quad plank reps. So if you'd like to do that to give yourself a little bit of opening, a little bit more chance to warm things up, please do so. Once we're done that, we stand up nice and tall, and we're going to work on our Kang Squat. So the Kang Squat is that kind of bringing together of the good morning and the squat. So with this, we set up in our regular squat stance. All right, so regular squat stance, we stand up nice and tall, we engage through the glutes a bit, we bring the ribs in to keep our hips nice and natural and level. And from here, you can use a hand reference if you like. We pull the hips back into our good morning, so that nice solid hinge. Now with this hinge, once we feel our hamstrings, we're going to pull our hips forward towards our heels as we find that good squat. Now from here, I push my hips back into my good morning, maintaining that good back position, and then I stand up nice and tall. So don't worry if you can't get your hips right to your heels. We want to think about that change of motion. So we get that hinge, and then as I pull my hips, my body becomes more upright to the best of your ability. So sitting into the depth of your squat. Then as we push through those legs, we feel those hamstrings tighten, and we get into that hinge again, and we stand up tall. So again, this isn't a fast movement. I want you to feel both positions. So give yourself a couple seconds in the hinge, give yourself a couple seconds in the bottom of the squat, and again back into that hinge so you can feel those engagements through the hamstring, through the glute, and then back up into your standing position. So experiment with that, have some fun with that, you guys. I love the Kang Squat. It really, really helps open up the tissues necessary in our squat, and it'll make those air squats in the workout feel that much better. Last but not least, we have this little hybrid set of calf raise, ankle pop, and skip, or calf raise, ankle pop, lateral jump over, in outs, whatever you want to do. But for our calf raise, you can do this loaded, you can do this unloaded. We're going to bring our feet under our hips, toes are going to be straight ahead, slight engagement, so we keep everything neutral. And I'm going to push onto my toes, thinking about that big toe, so that we're balanced between the big toe and the pinky toe. We want to think about maintaining a nice square foot, not rolling out to one side or inside. So we're really working on that good square position as we take it up and lower down. Nice and smooth. You can give yourself a little pause if you'd like. You can even work a little eccentric on the way down. You have 20 seconds to work on that at your leisure. From there, we're going to work on our ankle pop or ankle pump. So the ankle pump is just a slightly more aggressive and bouncy variation of the calf raise, where we're going to get our arms out like we're holding the skipping rope, and we're going to work that pop, but we're not actually going to leave the ground. All right, so we get a nice little pump through the calf and the ankle. The ankle pop, we actually leave the ground. So we work on that little pop, working on keeping our core engaged, our glutes semi-tight, and just letting our knees and ankles do what they do naturally and absorb and give back rebound. So we're trying to relax our feet and knees so that we are absorbing and giving back. On the same token, we're not relaxing so much that we're collapsing in our hops. We're keeping those knees apart. We're working on that nice smooth position and allowing our body to execute that rebound naturally. Now, in place of the skip, if you don't have a skipping rope, you can work on a couple different things. You can work on a lateral step over, skip over, jump over. You could also work on some in-out hops, or just adding in a piece that's a little bit more coordination, a little bit more agility focused, to work on getting the brain kind of locked into the body as well, so we can bring everything together for our workout. As a quick recap, we have our humeral glide to knee push-up for 3, floor-facing angel for 3 to 5 seconds. If you want to alternate between those two back and forth, you can. Quad plank, 3 to 10 seconds, 3 reps at 10-second holds. And again, if you want to do some cat-cows, thread the needles in between those reps, you can. Kang Squat, 5 to 10, executed relatively slowly, holding in certain positions to maintain and build those positions strong. And then our calf raise, ankle pop, skip, or whatever variation you'd like to pull together, 20 seconds each. Then we'll hit that up for 2 to 3 rounds. And then we'll move into our work set or practice round, where we're going to experiment with our different movements. So pause the video, take that down, get those positions ready. Let's talk about those movements coming up. All right, our workout, we have a 15-minute AMRAP. We have 10 burpees, 15 arch-ups, dynamic, and we have 20 squats, no load, and 30 double unders, or 30 double unders equivalent. So what we have for you guys, we have the burpee. So the burpee is a beautiful exercise. We do multiple burpees and multiple variations of the burpee in our workouts. But I'm going to show you 2 variations that we're going to build off and play with. So the full burpee, bringing all of our humeral glide kind of points of performance into this movement. We're going to come down, we're going to pop our feet back, lower down, pop our feet in, finish with our jump. Or we can do a step back variation and a step up variation, or a hybrid of either of those two. So jump back, step in, step back, jump in. Whatever sets you up the best for your movement. Now with the burpee as well, I want you guys to think about stacking that elbow and wrist and keeping that midsection nice and tight so that we focus on good position and really stabilize and help that shoulder out to get that good press. Now after the burpee, we can even do an 11th burpee but not pop back up, because we're going to get to our stomach position. So we're going to lay on our stomach, and we have 2 variations of this. We can do a double hand, double foot. So we inhale, reach, exhale down, inhale, reach, exhale down. Or we can work an alternating arch up as we go back and forth through that movement. So it's up to you on what you're comfortable with that. If you're more comfortable with that alternating back and forth, let's hit 16 reps so we can balance it out each rep or each round. Or if you're doing the double, 15 reps, thinking about length. So regardless of what variation of arch up you're doing, you're thinking about reaching your arms as far away from your feet as you can, lengthening out that spine, really working on your length and your back position. Right? So a little glute squeeze, nothing crazy, but we're trying to lengthen out that body. After our arch ups, we'll pop up to our feet. We'll set our feet up in our natural squat stance, and we're going to work on 20 good air squats. And these can be taken down fast, slow, whatever pace you want. But we're going to set our ribs and hips, keep a neutral hip. We're going to take the hips to the heels, keeping the body upright, the feet flat, and those knees tracking those toes. So we don't have to worry necessarily about pushing our knees out super hard like in our sumo squat, but we do have to show them a little attention outwards to keep them tracking the toes, or else they'll want to collapse again. So we want to make sure we're keeping that good solid position, stabilizing that pelvis with that slight turn out of the knee, and staying as tall and upright as we can. Our last exercise is the double under. I'll have a bunch of different double under options on your workout description on the bottom. Pick the one that's going to help you further your agility, your cardio a little bit more. All right, if you can't skip at home, that's okay. Lots of cool options coming your way. So pick one, have some fun with it, and enjoy this 15-minute AMRAP. As a quick recap, 15 minutes, 10 burpees, 15 arch-ups, 20 squats, 30 double unders. Repeat, repeat, repeat. It's going to be a good time, you guys. So take this down, have some fun today. Take it at a moderate, higher intensity, whatever you feel comfortable with today. But I hope you enjoy. Let me know how it goes. I'm always interested to hear about these work sets and what you chose to use in place of your double under, or what you did do for your double unders. I hit 30 every round, first time, whatever it happens to be. You know, rock it, have some fun. As always, so you guys work for quality, have tons of fun. We'll see you tomorrow for some more fun programming. Bye, you guys.